Hey guys, how's it going today? Thanks for coming back. Now, what is being discussed today is payment bonds. As you know, last time I talked to you about the performance bond and what that entails, as far as performing the work and finishing the job, completing it. Um, and then before that, I talked about a bid bond and what not to do, or what to do actually, to make sure that it's signed, that you have it in your bid package, and that it's correct, that there aren't any mistakes on it. It's for the entity that's going to be reviewing it, so that there's no type of mishap where they will disqualify you and go to the next person or go to the next company. So when we're talking about payment bonds, as I said before, the payment and the performance bond are usually issued together after they reviewed all your other paperwork and before they issue you the contract. When they send out the contract for you to sign, that's when you return the contract, signed contract, to the entity. Then that's when you would put your performance and your payment bonds attached to that package, going back to them along with the contract. So, but what's the purpose of a payment bond? The payment bond is pretty much to make sure that you, as a general contractor, or the company you're working for, the general contractor, um, or whoever's contracting the work, even if it's a construction manager, the payment bond, what it is to make sure that the subcontractors, the laborers of the general contractor, or even the subcontractors, and the material suppliers at all levels are all paid, which pretty much means that no one will be able to put a lien on the project. Of course, public works is a little different because technically you can't go out and get a mechanic's lien against it, but there are other ways to remediate the situation. But for the especially for for private, you can put a mechanic's lien on a project that you were on, and as long as you have some type of tangible material that goes on the job site, or also if you perform the service already and you still haven't been paid within the contracted amount of time that the owner has to pay you. Of course, this excludes retention to a certain point, obviously. But yeah, pretty much the payment bond is to make sure that everyone gets paid, so it protects the owner and the owner's property from getting a mechanic's lien. That's pretty much the gist of it. It's one thing when you're a very reputable general contractor, and these things are just a lot of formality. But when you're kind of iffy, or if someone's really iffy, kind of sketchy, you're not sure if they're going to be able to perform. You don't know their payment history to make sure that they don't have anything. Of course, if there is any type of legal action, a public record search will turn things like this up. So if you do find something, but you still want to take their bid because it was the lowest, you can always, as a private entity, always have that option where you can pretty much tell them, or make it part of the requirements, to that they're going to need to provide a performance bond as well as a payment bond, to make sure not only that they're going to get the job done, they're going to get it done right, and also that they are going to pay everyone, to make sure the monies don't go like where they're not supposed to, they're misappropriated or anything like that. It pretty much guarantees that they're gonna pay everyone. And if not, of course, I know I say guarantee that they're gonna pay everyone, but that is in itself is not a guarantee. So if they don't, then you have the bonds that you can go after. And usually the surety, obviously, that issues the bond, will do the investigation. And if they find if they find the claimant to be correct and their claim to be true, then obviously they'll go ahead and pay out the amount. And then they'll turn around and they'll go after the entity or the company that they issued that bond to. They'll go after them for recouping the money that they had to pay out. Of course, they do charge a fee, obviously, for issuing the bonds, because they're putting their money on the line. It's pretty much, when you think about it, almost like you're paying interest just in case something happens. So there's that. The other thing is, with payment bonds is if you have a great track history, you make sure everyone gets paid, your surety will not have a problem issuing you a bond. And in some instances, if you're really good, very reliable, and with absolutely everything, payments, performance, you finish jobs on time or sooner, you're financially strong, things like that, you just might be able to get a discount on your bonds just because of that, because you're so good, so reliable that you don't let anyone down. There's no claims against you, things like that. So that really goes a long way in helping you not only get a discount, but if you pass some of that money over into your bids, then you are going to be more likely to win more projects. Now, I wasn't a part of this next story that I'm going to convey here. It was before I got to the company I was working for, where I spent the majority of my construction, or the majority of my career so far in construction. This company, that one that we did a lot of that, what do you call it? The medical institution work. We were in there doing stuff, right? And one day the boss came, and actually we were having lunch and we were kind of chit chatting here and there. I can't remember exactly how it came up. Oh wait, no, that was a different story. No, we're in the office, and the boss gets a phone call. He's the CEO, president, so he takes it in the back in the shop, and he's there. He's talking. He actually ends up talking on the phone for like 40 to 45 minutes. So he comes back to the office area, and his wife says, that was a bit of a long call. Who was it? He's like, oh, it's, such and such from this other company. And we're like, oh, it's a company down in San Diego. So apparently what happened was they were looking at this sub for some theater rigging to come in and, do some work. Or yes, it wasn't even a bid. They already had the work, and they were farming out the theater rigging. And so this subcontractor had a pamphlet, brochure that he handed over and this and that. So he actually had a project that he had worked on with our company from, let me see, 2021. It's probably about 25 years. No, 20. Yeah, probably about 25 years since they did this project together. But what happened was that during the project, the subcontractor doing the theater rigging just kind of disappeared for a while, and so the stuff wasn't getting done, and it needed to get done. So actually, my boss, he started looking into it, learned how to do it pretty much, and there were some aspects he was learning as he was going. Well, most of it he was. So they were starting to get the job done, and then this guy has the audacity to come around and start pretty much harassing him that he wants to get paid. And so when they paid him pretty much up to the contract, up to when he left, he got all mad because he's like, well, that's not what the contract was for. And said, well, you didn't perform the rest of the contract. You didn't finish the job. We had to finish it for you. And not only that, he hadn't paid the employees for like 2 or 3 weeks. So he owed them money. So in order to keep them, so that my boss could have them finish, so that he wasn't doing everything, because it was more than a one-man job, what my boss did is said, okay, I'll pay you guys what he owes you if you guys can stay on and finish the project. So they agreed. So he had them sign all their paperwork and everything. He hired them. So when they paid him all the back pay that was owed, they ended up taking that out of what was owed to the subcontractor, in addition to the point where he had finished. And so, or before he left, when he finished before he left. And so, they cut all that out and then took from what was paid to him all the money, the back pay that was paid to the guys. And so he got all mad. He threatened legal action, but of course he had no foot to stand on, or no leg to stand on, because he abandoned the project. And so, and obviously the boss, he noted everything. He documented. I told you guys, you have to document everything. So he documented it. and everything. And obviously, the subcontractors' workers would have vouched for my boss because that's exactly what happened. And they were happy because he paid them what was owed to them. So in this case, obviously, as a subcontractor, they didn't bond back because it wasn't a requirement from from our company. And so after that, the boss was really kind of sketchy for a while, but the subcontractors, but he did find some really good subcontractors, especially the ones working, or that he had working at the medical facility. So, he really didn't require any type of bonding back. And which is kind of unfortunate because if you remember from the last stream, in case you guys haven't watched it, you guys can go back there about performance bonds, because we had a subcontractor that didn't perform. And it would have been nice to have them bond back because then we could have gone after the bond. And I don't think it would have covered everything, but at least it would have covered most of what we had to pay, the extra we had to pay to get the mill work to us. But anyways, back to the payment bond. So had he had a payment bond in place, then obviously my boss would have gone after his payment bond so that it would have paid the guys, and then it wouldn't have had to come out of his own pocket for the time being. So that's kind of story. Oh, that's right. Hold on. So that's what happened. But this other contractor who called my boss, the reason he had called was because the subcontractor had a pamphlet. He was still doing business. He had changed the name, but even changing the name, on his pamphlet, he put that specific project on the pamphlet along with the company name, that he did it for. So the contractor that was thinking about hiring him found my boss, found our company, got our number, called the boss, and that's where they sat down and they were talking about it. Now, because they did actually take legal action against this guy, when the other contractor was talking to my boss and he asked him about, his performance, how he did and everything, my boss kind of, instead of saying like, this guy really sucks, he's not, no, he said, well, legally, I can't tell you that he didn't finish the job. And legally, I can't tell you that he didn't pay his guys up to that point. And it went on for a good 5 minutes the way he was talking like that to tell him exactly, what the situation was. So, obviously the other contractor said, okay, so I should avoid this guy to avoid any headaches, to save myself from this kind of stuff. Of course, my boss is like, well, I can't tell you that. And I can't tell you that's good advice. Okay. And so that's kind of, the way the conversation went. So guys, I mean, this is what the payment bond is for. Now, I haven't worked for any contractors that anyone has had to come after any of their bonds, whether it's the bid bond, the payment bond, or the performance bond. So that is very good, obviously. So, yeah, that's what, there's not much to the payment bond, and the same thing, issued by your surety, and along with the performance bond, they're pretty much issued at the same time. Now, I have seen that with some sureties, you can actually request a payment bond all by itself. Now, the only thing is that a lot of the sureties charge half, so 50% of their usual charge for the 3 bonds. So that means, obviously, so if you take your price of getting all 3 bonds, chop it in thirds, now you're paying 33%, right? Well, the payment bond would constitute 33% of that fee. But if you're getting the payment bond only, they're actually going to charge you 50% of whatever your premium is for those 3. So that's a little bit of an well, you're going to have to offset that, obviously. But I mean, if you're fine with that and everything, you obviously put it in your bid. And if you can get it from your surety to bond back against any other general contractor, if you're a subcontractor. If you're a general contractor, especially if you're getting started, if you're getting new subs in, a lot of new subs that are young subs, you can always ask them for a payment bond, and that way you kind of protect yourself, and at the same time you're protecting the owner, because then the like I said, the subcontractors, the laborers that work for them and work for you as well as the material suppliers cannot lien the project. They're going to have to go after your bond instead. So it's a little bit of a protection for the owner on when we're talking about that aspect. So what else do we have? I think that was actually the only real story I had about the payment bond. I think there was another project that we did where I think the guys weren't paid for like 2 weeks, and they were threatening to leave the project, and we were gonna take them on, but then the subcontractor, I guess he got some money in, so he went ahead and he got caught up with them. And so I guess they weren't too worried. I mean, they were threatening that. I think the 2 weeks was the longest they had gone, just because it wasn't he. As a contractor, you're not always going to get your money on a Friday. It could be any time during the week. But apparently this guy usually took care of the guys first and then the material suppliers and everything else. So, I mean, it didn't sound too bad from our perspective. But, I mean, it was up to the employees. That was in our realm until it would have gotten really bad. So that's pretty much what we have today. But, if you guys find these videos interesting, have some laughs at my stories and things like that, the experiences that I've gone through, or if you've learned something from the experiences that I've gone through that I'm sharing, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button on the video. You can also hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted when I put out anything new, or when the live stream goes on as a video onto the channel. It'll help. I'm just growing right now. So hopefully, like I said, I want to grow this into a nice sized community for us to share things. Send stories and stuff you see just right below here. There's the Twitter handle. There's also the email. You guys can send me emails. Let me know your stories or anything you might want to cover. You might want me to talk about, things like that. If you guys, if there's anything I can do research, code. I'm here in California, so a lot of my stuff is based on the California Building Code, which is actually more stringent than the International Building Code, which our code here in California is based off of. It's just more stringent because we have more seismic things to worry about, and a little bit more of the EPA stuff. So, like, we have the Cal Green Code. That is, the pretty much the APA telling us flow rates for the different faucets, whether it's in the lavatory, shower heads, any urinals, which obviously pertains more to commercial areas, not really residential things. So, kitchen faucets, all kinds of things. The water closets obviously are toilets. They're just named water closets in construction or in architectural, things like that. So we go by the California Building Code. We use, there's the California Plumbing Code, again, because of the EPA things here. So and that one I believe is based off of the Uniform Plumbing Code. And then there's the California Electrical Code, which, by the way, in California, you can't, even if you're a licensed electrical subcontractor, all of your employees need to be California licensed electricians. Not necessarily they have to be contractors. They don't have to be licensed contractors, but they have to be licensed electricians, which means they don't have to worry about the contracting. They don't have to worry about the bonding, things like that. They're still employees of the electrical subcontractor, but they are licensed by the state to pretty much tell everyone that they know what they're doing. They pass the certification test and all that stuff. So plumbing is UPC, and then that's the National Electrical Code for the California Electrical Code. I see that for fire protection, the NFPA, that kind of is nationwide. That's not even a state thing anymore. What other codes do we have? Obviously, we have to abide by the ADA code, just like everyone else in the nation. That's a federal law. And that one, there's nothing different in California than everywhere else. So that one's the same shit. I think that's it. And then we have the California Residential Code, which, like the building code, but, kind of, what do you call it? geared towards obviously residential construction. So, which isn't, I mean, it's not too bad. The only thing I think with the residential construction, because like I said, I do plans. I've done plans for permits and things like that. And, you know, you hear the old contractors, they really, well, a lot of them don't like doing home, you know, residential construction unless it's new construction. Because then, well, unless it's new track construction, let me rephrase that. New track construction, because there's no owners. All the finishes are already selected and everything's done. But when it comes to private or to the homes with existing people in them, if they want to remodel, then it can get kind of dicey because they'll pick out some colors, then they'll see something on TV and they want to do this, they want to do that. And I know people always complain, oh, the contractor's taking forever. But on the flip side, some of the residential owners don't know, like they have an idea of what they want, but they don't know how to execute it. They don't know exactly what they want to put in their living rooms, in their kitchens. You know, the colors are different all of a sudden, things like that. So I kind of try to shy away from residential construction now. You know, we only did a very little bit at the company that I was working for. But yeah, so that's kind of it. I didn't have too much for you guys today. But I kind of have to figure out what I'm going to do for next Wednesday. There's a bunch of stuff I can do, from engineering stuff to architectural things. I don't know about plumbing. I did a video about submittals a while ago, but I don't think we're gonna go that route for, you know, next week. I don't know if you guys are out there, if you guys are seeing this, drop me a line. You know, if you want me to cover something. I guess I'm gonna have to decide from now until then to see what I'm gonna cover. So let's see, what else do we have? Any other aspect of construction? You know, there's always risks with everything, so there's that part. I think probably later on I'll show you guys a little bit of maybe some Revit. I'm gonna do certain things if you guys are interested, or CAD. What else? Microsoft Project, there's a little bit of that. I mean, I'm not a hardcore super advanced user either. I'm more of an intermediate user. So I'm probably gonna have to learn that pretty soon, at least to get a little bit better at it. I mean, I can do a schedule, I can do predecessors and all that stuff. I've manipulated, do a 2-week look ahead, things like that, you know. And then obviously, you know, you probably use a range of Office products from Word to Excel to Outlook. I know a lot of companies use Outlook for their email and things like that. Ooh, excuse me, guys. Had a bit of a rough night last night. But yeah, I just don't see right now very much that I can do. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I'm actually kind of working on some concrete estimates right now. But yeah, that reminds me. If you guys want to take a look at anything else like that, as far as the materials that go, tile, you know, obviously we have the finishes, drywall, paint, tile, flooring, the millwork. That's finished carpentry, but it's finished stuff. So we could do that. Talk about the different types of countertops, how to spot different things, you know. Make sure you keep on the subcontractors to make sure that they're supplying exactly what they say they're going to supply and per their submittals. Especially in a lot of commercial work. Like I said, I did a lot of public works projects, so that's kind of my background, and that's what I really, really look for. And I really do wish that they, like homeowners would hire project managers for, you know, in order to keep these. A lot of them go to work, and the construction crew is there because, you know, they have to get in and get the stuff done. Obviously, right now it's a little bit different because of Corona, and I don't know how many people are actually doing remodels right now. But when times are normal, most of the people will go to work during the day, so they leave the contractor working. But who's there watching them, making sure that they're actually doing things right, putting backing in the wall where it needs to go, not just hitting studs every so often, you know, every 16 on center or 24 on center, whatever it is. Make sure that they're putting in insulation and only insulation into the walls, that they're not messing things up. Checking for leaks, things like that. Getting the inspections done right. You know, calling the city to get them out there on time. any type of excavation that needs to get done, change orders, especially if the homeowner doesn't really know exactly where to put their change order as far as pricing goes and things like that. A project manager can help so much, to keep the job running, stay on the contractor so that they can try to finish as close to on time as they did. Have them submit a schedule or make a schedule and have them agree to it. And obviously you would become the keeper of the schedule, the RFIs, things like that. And you tell the contractor, if you have a question or anything, let me know so that I can get a hold of the owners and we can get this settled, that everyone can just go on with their project. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to take a look and see, kind of what topics we got, and just keep an eye out for when I put up, whenever the next one is going to go up. And look for that thumbnail, please. Like I said, subscribe so that it can come up when you take a look at all your stuff. All right, so I think with that, actually, we're gonna end. It's gonna be a very short one today, only about a half hour, if even that. Right? What time is it? I've got 3:56. So I think this is it. We'll just keep it short today, and you will see. I might be making some changes here and there, depending on how things go and what's going on with me and things. But yeah, subscribe, spread the word on the channel so that we can, get a community built up here and get some people going and get some more information out there. Spread the word, guys. Spread the word. All right. Especially if you have any mentor, or if you're mentoring any PEs, assistant PMs, and you want them to have some information, not just from yourself, not just from the team that's there, but from outside sources. Who knows, we might run across someone's idea to do something a different way or a more efficient way that you can implement in your office. You can try it out, and if it works out, you can implement it in the office, and everything, hell, you might even get a fucking raise. Depends on how much you save the company and things like that, right? Yeah, that's all we can really do, right? We just keep chugging along, and hopefully everything works out, right? All right, so like I said, I think with that, we're going to go ahead and just cut out here, and stay tuned for what's going to go on for next week. All right. So guys, thank you very much. Remember, when you're out there, and especially right now, we're getting some inclement weather and things like that, drive safely, stay warm, try not to get wet too much. If the conditions are bad out on the job site, just don't even attempt to, do anything that has the potential of becoming unsafe, whether you're hanging steel, doing electrical work, doing some exterior plumbing, any trenching. Guys, just be very, very careful. Watch your cranes when it's really windy, things like that. All right. I mean, they're usually pretty good about, I don't want to work in this wind, but you never know. You honestly never know. All right, guys. So with that, I'll see you later. And as always, stay safe.